Windows versus Mac, Android versus iPhone. The biggest questions to ever be asked every time your phone contract is coming up or your phone starts acting up. But what is the best choice? Let's find out. Well, as always, it depends. Let's start by, what do you use your phone for? If you use your phone just for Facebook, Instagram, and text messages, it really doesn't matter. If you have other Apple products like an iPad, an iPhone, AirPods, or a Mac, then the conversation becomes a little bit clearer. Because not only having all of that integration exist, you can actually leverage it for much more things, more like productivity, photos, and much more. Let's talk specs. Gigahertz, gigabyte, 5G, LTE. What does it all mean? If you're not part of the tech space, this terminology can be very intimidating. Let's demystify what it is versus Android and iPhone when it comes to performance, especially for hardware. Specs don't determine performance, software does. Now, before you go on an angry rant in the comments below, let me explain. 20 years ago, 1 gigahertz processors, Windows 2000, Windows XP, they were the mainstream operating system at the time. Computers operating Word, web browser, or even games, they were running perfectly fine in those times because they were optimized for those specified specs. Now today, we got different things. We have Intel, we have AMD, we have Apple, we have Microsoft, we have so many techs in the tech space that it can be very complicated to decipher. But at the end of the day, software determines performance. Apple has one advantage in their pocket. They develop both software and hardware in-house. This allows them to optimize the code to take advantage of every ounce of performance in their silicon, which also allows for more performance, more features, and therefore the more perceived performance. In comparison, Android, just like Windows, is just an operating system. Manufacturers can leverage other parts from different manufacturers and put them together into a smartphone or even a PC and build a completely different architecture or even a different laptop than what Apple can make. This gives us a bit of a flexibility of what can you and can't you do for each and every product you can buy. Since this disconnect exists, it's very difficult for Android to tune the operating system to take advantage of every bit of performance that's available in each and every manufacturer's processor or even their chips. Windows has been built with flexibility in mind. This allows software developers and hardware manufacturers to integrate into the Windows platform. On the other hand, Apple has come with a completely different mindset. They're looking for the user experience. This is where what you see is what you get. And Apple has been very meticulous about how they implement things in their ecosystem and even in their operating systems, iOS, iPadOS, and macOS, and even watchOS. This meticulous design has allowed Apple to make what is called the perceived experience or the perceived performance that might seem much faster or much more capable than what Windows can do. But there's a problem. Within that closed ecosystem, Apple has created a bubble where not all Windows applications can run on Mac and not all Mac applications can run on Windows. This is because they are running on core components that are completely different from each other. Windows is based off of DOS 32 operating system and Mac is running on a Unix kernel. This might sound completely Chinese. Technically it is, because you're talking about one language versus another language. But that's a topic for another time. Let's go back to which one is better. And how I said, it depends. In a business standpoint, it depends because what software you use will determine what platform you need. If you're 100% cloud-based infrastructure, or you just use your websites for everything, you can use either, depending on what you prefer. Which is, do you prefer Android and its very flexible operating system where you can customize every single detail? Or do you want the simplicity of an iPhone, where you can just pick it up and know that it usually works? Usually. But in comparison to a desktop or a laptop, there's other components you have to take a look into. For example, like I mentioned, if you're using your system in just web-based, maybe you prefer Windows. Maybe you're a gamer. Maybe you use other type of applications that are just designed for Windows. Or maybe there is a case that you just prefer the Windows operating system because that's what you've used for the past many years. With Apple, it's the same thing. You might just prefer the dock instead of a start menu. Or you might prefer having iMessage on your Mac. That is a huge benefit. But it's not all the benefits. For example, Apple does have the advantage when it comes to the creative space. Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere, even DaVinci Final Cut. And even for music production, Ableton, Logic Pro, and many other applications that musicians would use or even other creatives can leverage within the Apple system have an advantage because Apple has focused so much on creators. Now let's talk about the average user. What do you use a computer for? Do you use it for business? Do you use it just for watching YouTube and Netflix? Or maybe you use it for more than that. Or maybe you have a side hustle that can leverage content creation, website applications, and many other things. It can determine what you need to use. Or maybe you're a creative that can leverage the power that Photoshop has, Adobe Illustrator. Or maybe you're just starting off and you only want to get into it as a tech enthusiast. Either one will be great. What's my recommendation for you? Let's break it down in two ways. One, what's your budget? And two, what's your expectations? Your budget can really help you out in trying to figure out what's going to be the best platform for you. Let's say you have $500 for a desktop. Do you want to go to Best Buy or BrandSmart, maybe buy one off the shelf? Or maybe you're a little bit more brave. You can actually go ahead and spec out a PC at Newegg or Amazon. Which one's your preference? Let me know in the comments down below. Or maybe you want more out-of-the-box experience, where you can just go to your local big box retailer, just buy a PC, a monitor, and most of the time come with a keyboard and mouse, and just plop it on your desk and get started. If you want something as seamless with a great user experience, I would recommend a Mac, if your budget allows you. I recommend research what are you really going to be using it for. And I mean really. Because you can say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and learn programming, or I'm going to learn graphic design, or I'm going to learn any of these things. But don't fool yourself. Are you really going to play games? Or are you going to be going online and doing other things? This is where you need to be honest with yourself and ask yourself the real hard questions. Your end goals should really determine what you're going to be purchasing this for. If you have any more questions, comment down below. I'll make another video to get you more details of any specific pros and cons of any operating system or maybe even PCs. Thanks for watching. If you really like this video, hit the like button and subscribe if you can. Also, if you have any ideas for next tech videos that you want to get more answers on, let me know down in the comments. Also, if you know anybody has the same question, go ahead and share them this video. And as always, thanks for watching.